Teaching special needs students.
It is inevitable that you will have the opportunity and the pleasure of working with special needs students in your classroom. According to the U.S. Department of Education, 95% of 6 to 21-year-old students with disabilities are served in regular schools and classrooms. Since 13.4% of all children in public schools have a disability, chances are that every non-disabled child will have a disabled classmate during his time in school. Providing for the needs of these special education students will certainly be one of your greatest challenges as a teacher. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which was renewed by Congress in 2004, requires that schools make significant efforts to include children with disabilities into general education classrooms. These efforts, called mainstreaming or inclusion, can include everything from changing the classroom setup to adapting the curriculum and using technology to help. You may need to make accommodations for some of these children and modifications for others. An accommodation is a device, material, or support process that will enable a student to accomplish a task more efficiently. A modification refers to changes to the instructional outcome, a change or decrease in the course content or outcome. Design an individualized education plan, IEP, for each student. A team, usually composed of a school diagnostician or assessment specialist, a regular education classroom teacher, a special education teacher, a school administrator, and the parents, devise an individualized education plan, IEP, for each child deemed eligible for special services. The IEP notes the child's learning strengths and weaknesses, identifying goals and objectives for future achievement. With a developmentally appropriate IEP, the regular education curriculum can be tailored to accommodate the needs of each special needs child. Modifications might include things such as moving an easily distractible child away from a window or to the front of the room. Accommodations may include less homework and testing the child verbally. The family and school professionals should review the IEP at appropriate times during the school year to evaluate its effectiveness in meeting the special needs of the child. Implement the collaborative teaching model. Having full-time general education teachers and special education teachers working together in the same classroom would be ideal, but it's cost prohibitive for most school districts. Therefore, collaborative teaching is widely considered the best approach for educating students with special needs. There are two models of collaborative teaching that are typically used in tandem with one another. The first is the push-in model. A mainstream inclusion classroom may offer the additional presence of a push-in teacher, often certified in special education, to help individual students or offer individualized instruction. This specialist enters the regular classroom for a set period of time to deliver individualized or small group instruction to students with special needs. The second model is called the push-out model. Students may leave regular classrooms to receive individualized or small group instruction. It is important that the student who leaves the classroom for special instruction is working with the same content as the students in his regular classroom. To achieve this goal, the classroom teacher and the special education teacher must meet and plan together. Be knowledgeable regarding children's special needs. Simply being aware of the unique characteristics of special needs children can be helpful in understanding how to teach and relate to them. Among the special conditions seen with increasing frequency in the general classroom setting are attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, autism spectrum disorders, and Down syndrome. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. Students with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder generally have difficulties with attention, hyperactivity, impulse control, emotional stability, or a combination of those factors. These children have difficulty controlling their behavior and paying attention in class. It is estimated that between 3 to 5% of children have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. This means that in a classroom of 30 children, it is likely that at least one child will have ADHD. Students who have ADHD display specific traits such as difficulty following directions, fidgeting or squirming when sitting, talking excessively, and blurting out the answers to questions. They also are easily distracted and have difficulty remaining seated. Some practical tips for teaching children who are ADHD include the following. Allow children with ADHD to move while learning. If we require them to sit still while learning, they will use all their concentration on sitting still and very little, if anything, on learning. However, if we allow them to choose their own motion, it will almost certainly be distracting to the teachers and other children in the classroom. Therefore, it is important to choose appropriate actions for them, integrating motion into learning activities whenever possible. Simply allowing a student to stand at a counter, table, or desk can be effective. When appropriate, allow children with ADHD to respond orally, as writing is extremely difficult for many children with ADHD. Give students a checklist of things that need to be done every day. This helps children with ADHD be accountable and develop responsibility. It gives them great satisfaction and a sense of accomplishment when they can tick off each assignment as it's completed. Autism Spectrum Disorders, ASD. Children with autism are so varied that a person meeting 2 or more of them might be puzzled that their conditions fall under the same name. This is why child mental health professionals have settled on the term Autism Spectrum Disorders, ASD, to describe this heterogeneous group. This term includes classic autism and Asperger's syndrome, which some specialists classify as high-functioning autism. Many children with ASD can be successfully taught in mainstream, inclusion classroom settings. Special education teachers can provide specific tactics for helping children with autism spectrum disorders. A critical role of the regular teacher is to provide the children unconditional love and care, and to support effort as well as achievement. In fact, the relational aspect of working with special needs students is probably the most important endeavor of all. Melissa Daly with the Johns Hopkins School of Education says, "Teaching individuals with ASD how to form relationships and understand the feelings of others is likely more important than academic learning when considering the future potential of an individual. Because this is the greatest area of weakness, schools carry an important responsibility to work this into the curriculum, whether the student with ASD is in the regular educational setting or the special education classroom." Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a form of developmental impairment caused by extra genetic material in chromosome 21. While children with Down syndrome are generally very loving and affectionate, they do not have a particular type of personality. They are individuals like everyone else. In integrating a Down syndrome child into a general education classroom, ask other children who are doing well academically to help and assist their developmentally impaired classmates as part of their own social, emotional, and academic development, which is mutually enriching. Be generous with praise, honest praise, and encouragement when the child is successful and masters new skills, and when she or he is trying and working very hard. Ignore undesirable behavior if the child is doing it to get your attention. Instead, give attention when the student's behavior is good. The three main principles for teaching children with this developmental impairment are: divide skill development into small steps and allow for slow progression. Make frequent repetitions. Give lots of praise and motivation. Promote social interactions. Special needs children are sometimes excluded from social interactions with their typical peers. Often, both the special needs and typical children are not sure how to proceed with establishing relationships with one another. Setting up learning opportunities for special needs students to foster relationships with others is an important task of the teacher. Here are a couple of suggestions. Give the student helping roles, such as distributing work materials to other students. Assign the child a peer buddy when moving around the building or attending assemblies outside the classroom. Select different children to serve as peer buddies so that the special needs student has the chance to build several friendships and does not depend on any one child for support. Summing up, students with mild to moderate disabilities can be very successful in inclusive education classrooms. Special needs students who are integrated into the general education setting demonstrate heightened self-esteem and increased socialization skills. As a result of the presence of special needs students, regular education students are taught important social and cultural awareness skills, including tolerance and patience towards students with disabilities. Working together, teachers can provide an inclusive environment that will provide a powerful learning experience for everyone in the classroom. Our mission in teaching special needs children can be summed up in the words of Melrick Stevenson, General Maintenance Manager at Aldine ISD in Houston, Texas. Just because kids are disabled doesn't mean they are unable. With a little love and work, they can do almost anything we can do. Here are some things to remember in teaching special needs students. According to the U.S. Department of Education, 95% of 6 to 21-year-old students with disabilities are served in regular schools and classrooms. Collaborative teaching is widely considered the best approach for educating students with special needs. There are two models of collaborative teaching that are typically used in tandem with one another. The first model is the push-in model. A mainstream inclusion classroom may offer the additional presence of a push-in teacher, often certified in special education, to help individual students or offer individualized instruction. The second model is called the push-out model. Students may leave regular classrooms to receive individualized or small group instruction. Students with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, generally have difficulties with attention, hyperactivity, impulse control, emotional stability, or a combination of those factors. Some practical tips for teaching children who are ADHD include the following. Allow children with ADHD to move while learning. When appropriate, allow children with ADHD to respond orally, as writing is extremely difficult for many children with ADHD. Give students a checklist of things that need to be done every day. With autism spectrum disorders, including classic autism and Asperger's syndrome, a critical role of the regular teacher is to provide the children unconditional love and care, and to support effort as well as achievement. The three main principles for teaching children with this developmental impairment are: divide skill development into small steps and allow for slow progression. Make frequent repetitions. Give lots of praise and motivation. It is important to promote social interactions between special needs children and regular education children. A couple of suggestions are: give the student helping roles, such as distributing work materials to other students. Assign the child a peer buddy when moving around the building or attending assemblies outside the classroom. Working together, regular education teachers and special education teachers can provide an inclusive environment that will provide a powerful learning experience for everyone in the classroom.